Hi everyone, and welcome to our session today. I'm very excited to have one of our best staff at Hazelcast, Ozge Abgö from Turkey. Welcome, Ozge. How are you today?
Thank you. Thank you for us. Great. How are you?
Yes, I'm very good, thanks. It's great to have you here. It's been some time we're trying to organize it, and finally we are here. So I'm looking forward to this very exciting topic today because it's gonna touch on very important principles about software development. But before we get started, I would like to introduce to our community for those who don't know you. So where are you based? What are you working on? What is your background? So it'd be great if we can start there.
Okay, thank you. So I'm working in Hazelcast more than 2 years now, and I work in different positions. So I started here on the program management side, technical program management side, then on the cloud team. And it became now, you all know that it's Viridian now. And I worked as the engineering manager on the Viridian team. So I had the chance to work more closely with the engineering team and the product team together. So then I became the senior engineering manager for the platform teams. And what I'm saying the teams because it was around 4 to 5 teams that I was managing as an engineering manager, and it was a really great opportunity to all experience the development, the execution parts, and having in touch with the leadership and the product management very closely. Now I'm working as director for the product ops team and the technical program management team, and it's around 6 months. So now I have the opportunity to look for the best practices and continue improving. So let's say it's like a Kaizen principle, Kaizen philosophy that I
Yeah,
always try to follow.
yeah, that's great to hear. I think this is kind of like a really nice mix here. I would love to know how you actually moved, like what kind of like shift is that between software engineering and product management. So we'll get into that but bit in a second. And from your experience and working with Hazelcast, can you just describe basically your day-to-day or weekly activities currently? What type of like challenges and what type of tasks? So it will be great just to understand the concept of, how you work in Hazelcast.
So maybe I can mention the Hazelcast history in here, because I started working in Siemens in 2004 2005, and when I started working with Siemens, it was the first time that I heard the Agile manifesto. So and it was my first working experience, which was really exciting to me. Worked there 8 years. I will not go details because it will take all the time of our, meeting today. But then worked for the Ericsson, which was following the waterfall, the traditional methodologies, and later on, I had the chance to compare 8 years and just compare which methodology is the thing that is the real, which is essential to stay in the game. And when I recognize that, I directly decide to give the support, to give the consultancy, become the coaching for the startup companies. And I met with Hazelcast when I was a consultant for a company, as a program manager for a company, use the product Hazelcast. So when I started in the Hazelcast as program manager, so it is a company known as a digital native by its own. So it is inherently agile from its inception, and which is the most exciting thing that lets me to ambitious to work for Hazelcast, and it's naturally operate on agile principles without labeling them as such. So when you say that day-to-day experience, I can immediately tell you that I'm working in Hazelcast with the interactions with the people that I'm working, more than the tools or the processes that we use, or any principles that from the the classical Agile, from the Agile manifesto. It's in Hazelcast, definitely. So but of course we follow some framework, and we assess if it works, if we can improve more. We build, we try to measure, and we try to adapt the feedbacks as much as we can in our day-to-day life.
Yeah, that's great. I think this is part of the story of Hazelcast. Not many people know about it. Like people know about the Hazelcast features and capabilities, how to write the code and how to get all these features, but they don't really know behind the scenes. So it's gonna be a really interesting talk. I remember when I asked you how you want me to introduce it to our community, and I think this is like exact title for you now. It's coaching. So this is really what we're gonna do today. And I know it's not easy. It's not easy task to do, like coaching. So this is like topic where it's kind of like you need to introduce it, but also you need to make sure whoever you're introducing it to actually have best practices. So I'm looking forward to this. So perhaps we can get started with the topic itself. So can you just make an introduction for our today's talk and what you plan to cover?
So I can say that in my experience, so I have seen numerous organizations attempt to transform. So some have been successful, but many have not, and they're often failing for the similar reasons. And and as I mentioned, that meanwhile some companies born agile, so which is very the biggest advantage of these companies. So in a nutshell, I can say that honestly, that agile is about getting comfortable with the unknowns, and accelerating the learning. So this is the main principle behind the scene. So it is not about having exactly the process to speed up the output, but it as its essence, I can say that, lies in the continuous process of building, measuring, and learning, all while keeping the focus on the desired outcome. And it was initiated around 22 years ago. So it improved a lot. Too many methodologies, too many techniques. But I will come to that point in our
Yeah,
later.
sure. So I assume it's a journey, right? It's not like a button on and off. Like it's basically companies can be on any part of this journey. So can you just walk us like from non-agile to the agile, and what are the stages, or how you want basically to move from step by step?
Okay, so I can say that if I look over the progression on the methodologies and the tools and techniques for the last 15 years, what I see in this, in what I've experienced is we are shifting from answering if I'm meeting my stakeholder needs to a focus on outcomes. Am I having an impact on my customer lives? So this is and there are some questions that were asked, during that time period in the transformation, in the agile journey. And the main goal was always to learn faster. So what I'm saying by learn faster. So in 2000s, it was started by asking the question. The agile started at the very beginning. Are we meeting the stakeholder needs? So why it was asked? Because we were asking that question at the very end of our conversation, of our development cycle, months later, sometimes years later, at the end. It is the toughest thing, that when we recognize the stakeholders, we are not actually meeting stakeholders' needs, because the requirements are changed during that time period. And also they were all documented somewhere else, which are not up to date even now. So it was the first waterfall agile manifesto, become popular. Then in 2003, it was the question of can the customers use our products. So it was the beginning of, you must probably remember it because we are from that years. I believe that the user experience, the UX designers and the design thinking were started. And it was really, really popular at these days, starting to ask the question, okay, can customers use it? Is it good for ours, for their usage? I'm not talking still about if it is good for their, for solving the problems. We were not at that stage in 2003, 2004. And then the journey continued. And then we go and I'm really a fan of the Eric Rice, and thanks to Steve Blank for initiating that. You remember the book for very famous Lean Startup. They led us to ask the question: do customers want our solution? So it is the third question that was asked on these days. That okay, so the stakeholders, but how about our customers? They do really want our solution, and they initiated with letting us to do MVP, so minimum viable product, right? So minimum valuable product. So this was one of the very, I think, a kind of a milestone in the agile transformation in all over the world, that we start thinking about, okay, let's experiment. Let's start the experimentation before further putting more features, more features, more stories, more before go to spend more time on it. So it's a kind of a really a milestone for us. And the fourth question came into the stage, which was that, are we solving a problem that the customers care about? So what are they doing? What are they solving? And you most probably it is also very popular there are different methodologies for that. For example, jobs to be done is one framework, one methodology, one technique that led us to figure out which problems was solved by our customers. And it is really some the most critical question that we were never looking at the very beginning, while we were putting the requirements, the features that will be developed by our feature teams. Why I'm saying that? Because until that time, there were feature teams. But after that, some time, then we built the product teams. So it's a switch from a feature team to a product team mindset. And the last question for us, it is are we driving toward a desired outcome? So that the OKRs, are we really, what is the objective that we are driving towards? So, and does everyone aware of that? It is not the leaders, it is not the product managers. We are a product team, means that everyone needs to know what to solve, and the problem statement, the opportunity, or not only the problem statement. And OKRs, thanks to Google, which was worked by Intel, that the OKRs became our the first thing that we start discussing, while we even put one stone on top of any building. So this is let's say the kind of the tools and techniques and the methodologies, but all of them, the critical thing is here to decide what to build, and the goal is to fast learn. So if we can how to decide what to build, and if we will use a methodology, will it let us to learn faster? And my last verse on that thing is my motto is always, don't fix what's not broken. Don't try to fix what's not broken. No need for that. What does this help me to learn quicker than I was doing before? So this is the question. Please ask that question. If you want to do something else for your company, if you want to try a methodology, if you want to change anything else, first look at that. If there's something broken, and if it will make me to quicker learning that I was doing it before. So if you can answer to these questions, then go for it. Otherwise, just stop and think once again to do any change, because it's not only change of the tools and techniques, it's moreover.
Yeah, that's great actually to hear about these questions, and also very important to know the answers, right? I've been in this discussion for so long about Hazelcast feature, what is needed, what is not needed, why do we have this, why we don't have that features, and so on. I can highly relate to what you say about it. So here to come two questions basically. So first question is, how does this relate to Hazelcast? So maybe you can describe a use case about it, about implementation, and also you mentioned product team versus a feature team. So maybe you could also shed some light, because this is a new topic for me and the audience. It would be great to understand difference here.
Okay, so I'll give some examples, and you will find Hazelcast somewhere else in those examples. So definitely, in a nutshell, when I say that it is Agile is about getting comfortable with the unknowns. Over the years, over the years where I led various organization changes, that I observed the transformation often fail when Agile scene is just a series of steps rather than a fundamental cultural shift. So that cultural shift part is very critical, because a successful Agile transformation goes deep, like it changes the unspoken rules, definitely, and the shared beliefs and everyday behaviors. So that which shapes an organization in general, right? It is the culture behind everything else. And there are some pitfalls, many these pitfalls arising from two misconceptions, that a transformation is straightforward and linear, and the people will easily adjust to new changes of working. It's not like that. It's not like that. In reality, it is much more complicated, and an Agile transformation will fail without leadership support. So this is the main thing, the starting point. If you don't get any leadership support in order to transform the company cultural shift, then stop and think again. So what I can say, the culture, the companies, by the way, culture doesn't change overnight. This is also important, and people's response to changes can vary widely. Some people responded with an excitement, some with resistance and anxiety, and it impacts the leadership, it impacts the management, it impacts the other employees. The people who are uncomfortable with something else, they will impact the broader audience in their companies. So what I'm saying is it really requires the belief in the change and firm decision to pursue. And it's like Favas, stock option. You decide to buy a stock option, and you need to believe it, and you should rate it, and you should measure it, and you should get feedback, the feedback loop from the people who are impacted from. It is not something to dictate, but it is really a team sport. It's not an individual sport. It's like basketball. It's like volleyball. You should be doing this. We should be doing this together. Individually, we should be switching from individual goals to the team goals. So, and these team objective, team OKRs, it should start from the top and it should go to the bottom all together with the management team. And it is mainly the attitude and the principles you believe in, not the, not the framework, not the techniques. It is moreover than that.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And about the product team versus feature team, can you just shed some light on this concept because it's quite important?
Yes, so you most probably we all hear that the feature factory, becoming a feature factory thing is it is a common problem behind producing getting the value that we are expecting from our customers, from our business. It is the most, we need to all individual people in your company should look from the product perspective. So why? Ask the question why. So I can say that it is really common to, because we don't want the executors, we want achievers in our company. We want really the achievers. Achievers means that people who are asking the question why, because we focus on mainly to how to do that, what are the requirements. But the most critical thing that needs to be asked by all individual people in the company, why are we doing it? What is the root cause of it? Which problem that we are focusing, which opportunity that we should be, we should be realizing, so that the how are we going to do it, in which tools, which technology. So this is the part that can be answered. So the empowerment, I believe that the empowerment in general of the product teams, what I mean, the development team, the testing, the product, the engineering manager, empowerment for figuring out to answer the question, to letting them to answer the question how they will be solving the problem, and always questioning the why part is the main one of the critical thing. Mm-hmm. And one addition maybe Fawaz is the empiricism, which is it should be in the core of the organization, embracing agility. So which means that it is the fact based, it is the experience based, and it is the evidence based manner. So if you do that, which has the the principles like the becoming transparent, inspection, and adaptation, it will bring all together. You become transparent to yourself, to your manager, to your customers, and you check your work as you do it with openly, transparently show the product to the customer, let the customer give you the feedback, let the field team, for example, the solution architect in Hazel case, give the feedback to you, and let them complain about what they see, initiate that conversation, and then adapt it, to improve what you build, the ability to adapt based on the results of the inspection. And let everyone in the company or organization asking the question every day, what are we better off than yesterday? So if you give that principle, if you do that cultural shift in your organization, asking the question of the adaptations, of the inspection, and the transparency, like the empiricism, it's very hard for me to pronounce it all the time, but I believe that you can achieve the goal to become an agile company using the right methodologies on the right for answering the right questions, and never ever forget that continuous learning is the main thing. What are you learning? How can I learn faster at the end?
That's great to hear. So, to finish it off, like any like references, books or websites or anything like who those who are listening and watching us and would love to know more, anything that you recommend to get going with agile methodology and best practices?
For the agile, you all know that the Marty Gagan is like the like the god of that all the principles behind. I really like his quotes, and I really like his inspired, empowered. These are the two, like Bible books that I really recommend all the audience to read it. But I can say that the Harry Niebert. So it is. I like that person who is the kind of the contributor of the Spotify model. And I want to tell one quote from him saying that the important thing is not your process. The important thing is your process for improving your process.
Oh,
So he has good YouTube videos, and I recommend him. And one last quote maybe that I can share from Jeff Bezos that I really like a lot. So the good process serves you so you can serve customers. But if you are not watchful, the process can become the thing. This can happen very easily in large organizations that I totally experienced that. And the process is not the thing. The thing is the value that you produce every day for your customers, for your business. So
right.
this is that I can share with
That's
you.
really good. So what I'm gonna do is like take these codes and add it to the video description so people can have reference and our community can have reference at it because it's quite important. So listen, thanks so much, Osge, for your time and for this valuable content. I really like this discussion, and to be honest, I don't think it's like deserve just one session. We would love to have like deep dive into this methodology and why it is important. So, any final thoughts or takeaways or anything like you want to mention, or how to find you online, or all this good stuff?
Thanks for the opportunity for us to chat with you firstly, and it's a pleasure to work for Hazelcast. So it is the company that you want to experience all the things that I mentioned here.
All right, so that's a great use case for this content here. So for anyone watching us now, pre-watching or after watching, you can feel free to join our community Slack where you get access to our software engineers and our solution architects to get know more about Hazelcast. We do also live streams on Twitch. If you would like to know more about this content, feel free to drop us a line and we will happy to host us again. So with that being said, thanks everyone and have a good day. Thank you.